Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Megha Sharma. There seems to be a lot of confusion, chaos, very destabilized situation that Manipur finds itself in. Now, in wake of the report that came out of the government of India that there were over 900 Kuki tribes that had been infiltrated from Myanmar into Manipur. There has been anger that has been shown by the Kuki community in Manipur. They have disparaged this statement, this report, and now we also understand that there has been bombings that have taken place that have destroyed 2 buildings. However, thankfully, fortunately, there have been no deaths or injuries that have been reported of civilians or security personnel. There is also at this point of time a report as per sources that is doing the rounds, and we do not have any way of confirming it, that there is a seminar that is going to be conducted by the government of India in New Delhi in November, and an invitation has been sent to the rebel groups, pro-democracy groups from Myanmar. Amidst all these developments that are taking place in Manipur, we are trying to find a solution for peace and harmony and ensuring that our borders are secured along Myanmar. Let's start off our conversation. Joining me on the telecast is, I have with me Professor Madhav Nalapan, and let's hear it from you, Professor Nalapan, about this very peculiar situation that India finds itself in. On one hand, there is infiltration coming in from Myanmar into India, into Manipur. There is disgruntlement from the side of the Kuki tribes because of these reports that are pouring in. On the other side, are there overtures being made by India to invite pro-democracy leaders and anti-junta military to be part of discussions with India?
Megha, if you go back to the records of NewsX, you will find that we have had several discussions on the subject, and a recurring concern has been that the Myanmar military is too close to the PLA and cannot be relied upon, and frankly that it is something that is most unfortunate that the democratic government was ousted, and even now Daw Aung San Suu Kyi continues to be in prison. It's a most unfortunate event, and at that point in time we had talked in NewsX about how frankly the democracy movement is important, and frankly, and I'm delighted that an invitation is going out to the pro-democracy group finally. I think it's a very welcome move on the part of the government of India. Coming now to the problem of insurgency, the fact is 1/3, as we all know, 1/3 of the Indo-Myanmar border is basically the part of the India-China border. It is controlled by the PLA or proxies of the PLA, including these so-called, these militant groups, terror groups, if I may say so. Unfortunately, many of them sneaked across the border soon after the coup because they were afraid the military would do something to them. But the reality is that the problems in some parts of our country started around that particular time. So it's very, very clear that the 1/3 of the India-Myanmar border is in effect and the part of the India-China border, and it is through this 1/3 that the problem is arising. And I think it's very important to ensure that infiltration is prevented from Myanmar into India, and I think the government is taking steps in that direction, and I think the quicker those steps are made effective, the better it will be for the people of the Northeast who will finally get back peace.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Major Mohammed Ali Shah also on the telecast with me. Thank you for joining us. And of course, we talk about, you spent your childhood in Manipur, you've been the ADC to the GOC Spear Corps, you've served with the Assam Rifles, and you've just recently been awarded the prestigious Director General Assam Rifles Commendation Card for your contribution to Manipur, and heartiest congratulations to you, and understanding from you the very fabric of Manipur and how important does it become to distinguish between terrorism that is emanating out of Manipur and the internal conflict, which are overlapping subjects. I understand an advantage at this point of time being taken by non-state actors and by countries adjoining Manipur that are then using it to their for their vested interests to create mayhem and chaos and then infiltrate our borders and make them insecure.
Right, Megha, very well said by you. Megha, firstly, I must compliment you for being so well informed and acknowledging the combination card that I got. It's very, very close to my heart. Thank you very much. Now, Megha, the very fact we have not been able to bring peace in a beautiful land like Manipur for way too long now. 3rd May, the violence started, it's still going on, and we see 2 buildings which were damaged in Bishnupur in bomb attack. It is very, very difficult. In fact, on Thursday night, almost a week back, I would say, in Kumbi village, they located a few kilometers from Globai, experienced heightened tension after multiple drones apparently they were spotted hovering in less than 100 meters from the ground. Also, right now we see that the police said the estimated range of the rockets that were fired were about 3 kilometers. So this is indeed alarming because sophisticated weaponry is being used. Sophisticated. Where is the money coming from? From both sides, in fact, from Mighties and the cookies. And it is getting only more deadly day by day. They say a nick in time saves 9. We did not react in time, unfortunately, or maybe we reacted. It wasn't effective because it had been effective, it would have shown by actions. It is really sad. Now, there's something called as Sam Dam Dan Bhair. Do what you want. Kaise bhi karo. Get peace in Manipur. Form committees if you have to. React, act, do what you want. Now, because both these communities, Cookies and the Mighties, they are wonderful people. And they've never had any misunderstanding earlier in the past. If you see, there have been Naga and Cookie clash. There have been Maite Bengal and the Maite clash. There have been Naga. They've been in-house fighting among the Cookies in 1997. But we had not heard of a Maite Cookie clash. So when we see, and there was news coming in of 900 Cookie militants are waiting to cross across from Myanmar. The Kuldeep Singh, the security advisor, had given this report. So, I say that Kuldeep Singh, the security advisor, was doing his job. For example, if anyone gets any input like that, and if we take it lightly, lying down, and God forbid, if something happens, as per that report on 28th September, it was around 20th September was the date mentioned, that there is going to be violence, there is going to be dreaded bloodshed over there. If that report is taken lightly, and God forbid, if something does happen, then the person, the security advisors, the security agencies would be answerable that you had got the input, you had got the information, but you didn't react on this. So, of course, it was any input. I'll give you a small example, Megha, for all our viewers to understand, and I'll conclude by that. Supposing we are in a family and we get information that don't go to so-and-so X market, so there's a bomb planted over there. Will we go there? We will not go there. We will, in fact, put on a family WhatsApp group, we will alert all our family members not to go there. So because there might be a danger there. There could be a bomb there, there could not be. So similarly, I think Mr. Kuldeep Singh did his job, and by alerting everyone that there could be fresh violence, and I keep saying I'm hoping and praying for peace in a beautiful state like Manipur, and I hope there is some action, some committee or something comes up and we bring in peace over there, Megha.
Okay. Let's get in DGP BL War also into the conversation. And BL War, again, speculation at this point of time. There seem to be some sources. There is no conclusive statement that has been made by the External Affairs Ministry or the Home Ministry at this point of time of whether there is going to be, in fact, a dialogue with these anti-junta pro-democracy forces, the military that is operational in Myanmar. But if it does happen, do you think this is going to help India in containing the terrorism that has now emerged out of Manipur through infiltration from Myanmar?
What Megha, the Ministry of External Affairs does, we don't know, and I don't think we should be really honestly worried about it. If they do, it's a good thing, but it may be partially good thing, because for democracy movement, they'll have some say definitely on the borders, but not a complete say. But will the military government there, like some others, to participate in a conclave like this? Another moot question. That's a question of diplomatic relations also with the Myanmar government. More than that, I think we should be worried about what is happening inside. Inside, the situation is getting worse from bad, and it is getting worse now. Situation is not coming under control at all. I am baffled as to why the government of India is not doing anything, and if they are doing, they are failing. So both ways it's a failure. I have been advocating on your channel, and I must compliment your channel that you regularly discuss Manipur. I have been advocating that there must be president rule with immediate effect, and the entire might of the Indian state in all respects, political, diplomatic, army, security forces, economic, even peace efforts. I think everything must be put into action. I think it's more important for us to put our own house in order rather than depend exclusively on outsiders to help us in getting over this situation. I think it's already too late, honestly, and I feel honestly very bad as a citizen that the country is failing. If they are not paying enough attention, that's a failure. If they are unable to control it, that is also a failure. I have a feeling that the central government has no time for these peripheral states of India. They're more worried about the mainland, they're more worried about J&K and Punjab and things like that. I think it's time that attention is paid, and I've already said president rule with the best of intentions, with the best of resources, and immediately forceful action on all fronts is a must, Megha.
Okay.
I think it's already too late. Yeah, thank
Major
you.
General Sanjay Meston, in what ways can militant infiltration from Myanmar into Manipur be stopped? We have built the fences, we have alerted our armed forces and our security personnel by way of these reports that have now been released. 900 militants is not a small number, but do we stop at that? What are going to be our contingency plans? What are going to be? There are at this point of time, steps that will have to be taken that are going to, then we'll have to stop these infiltrations altogether in the hope that this will ensure that there are no terror activities that have increased in number in the past few weeks and ensure that these don't happen again.
Yeah, Megha, you have very rightly asked the question about how can we prevent or stop infiltration. My military career in the Indian Army started from Manipur, and of course I was in Valley and thereafter in Koutruk and also in Nagaland. So that first and foremost factor to be analyzed is the terrain is extremely difficult. Having also served in J&K in the upper reaches of Kupada and all these other places where I had served, the terrain is of course higher altitude, but there is no tree line. Now coming south, if you come in the Pir Panjal ranges and south, it is densely forested. The same terrain which is akin is exactly prevailing in Manipur. The borders have got solid terrain, thick undergrowth, dense nalas, vegetation, everything is there, and traveling time from one place to another is extremely difficult. Most of the places are not even accessible by even foot tracks. So considering this ground reality, to say that we can stop infiltration and prevent infiltration, as an army man I can state it's not even happened in J&K, where the Indian Army is deployed on the LC, and we keep hearing about terrorists sneaking through. So to stop it, I would not say it's possible. The border guarding road is actually of the Assam Rifles, and they have something known as a company operating base, which they have deployed. Even if we can put any fencing and all sensors, anything, infiltration firstly cannot be stopped. Let's be very clear in that. So now what is the way out? Contingencies. Let's be very clear, the conflict is between two tribes, that is Methi and Kukis. This is a start point. When there is an internal conflict, Who's going to take advantage? The external factors or external forces will take advantage, and in this case, it is China. And when I was there way back in 82 in all these areas, Indian Army, I must state, Indian Army was sucked into such heavy insurgency there that we were every day battling insurgents, and things were so problematic there. We were losing so many casualties, and it was not easy to function there. In fact, we had done a solid operation across where Indira Gandhi had given permission to go to 2 villages in Myanmar, Shovyat, Hokyat and Shiveto. We had gone there. It was a huge operation consisting of a large number of troops. The aim was to clear camps in Myanmar. We had gone, it was a huge force. The operation was being directed by the Army Commander, Eastern Command, who later became the Army Chief General Vaidya. So what I am trying to say is that thereafter, Indian Army managed to control it, and therefore we went for Sioux operations, and therefore there was quite good stability in the last so many years. We were not having problems. I was myself looking after China and Myanmar borders and insurgency northeast when I was a brigadier in MO Directorate, Military Operations Directorate. We had meetings with the then Home Minister, and these talks were successful, and I must say, credit of even the present government of India, that these 2 talks were continuing, and the last 2019 also they had approved because every year the 2 talks have to be ratified.
Okay.
Suddenly, the problem has emerged now between the Kukis and the Tutsis and the Kukis and Metis. Why I stated Tutsis? I was also in Rwanda in '94. Now I'll talk about peace plan. Rwanda, 500 years of bloodshed and 1.5 million people genocide I witnessed way back in '94 in Rwanda. I was a UN military observer. Today, that country is one of the best leading countries in entire Africa, courtesy the president, Paul Kagame. And there is total reprobance between the Hutus and the Tutsis. That country is doing extremely well. So what I'm trying to say is, we need to, firstly, there is no peace plan as on date. Have we finalized any roadmap for peace? I have not seen any.
Okay.
No discussion on that. So I think the focus needs to be on a peace plan. That is what it is. And now who should be doing it? Yes, there was a peace committee constituted under the governor, in which members were the chief minister. You know, when the people of Manipur are not satisfied with the local administration governance, how can these same people be part of a peace committee? So let us have independent people from various, there are think tanks, there are so many good academicians,
Okay.
there are so many good army officers who have served there, retired. Let them constitute the peace committee, let them understand the problem, and till the time the both communities are not made to sit down and talk to each other and understand the problems. This problem of, whether border infiltration and whether we can have talks with the democracy groups in Myanmar, it is not going to make any headway.
Okay.
The problem
All right.
is
Fair enough, sir. Fair enough. Professor Madan Alapat, quickly, how do we find a balance here in terms of the internal strife versus the terrorism threat that is slapping us on our face? Is it right to say that the Home Ministry is more concerned and its focus right now primarily on Jammu and Kashmir and Punjab, and therefore Manipur at this point of time is being ignored?
Well, Megha, I'd like to point out the Prime Minister has visited Northeast several times. It's a very special region, and every part of the country is equal. There is no question of so-called heartland and peripheral lands. We are all heartland. I mean, I come from Kerala, and Kerala is as equal as any other state in India, and so is Manipur. So from that point of view, every part of India is treated the same way by the government. I'd like to point out that technology needs to be used. For example, small drones to map out the terrain and to find out, for example, through thermal imaging. Such technologies exist, and I am certain that the government of India and its security network have access to them. Use that to find out if there are, human beings who are moving across, and if so, they need to be interdicted. And very importantly, I think the Indo-Myanmar border somehow needs to be fenced. There's no question about it.
Right.
We did that in Kashmir and it created a big difference. I can tell you, in my view, it needs to be done in the case of Myanmar as well. And I presume that the current government is working on that matter. And I do believe that the Home Ministry is also working on the matter. And I'm very certain that with the use of technology and with the use of blocking infiltration through various obstacles, we can ensure that the problem is first alleviated and then solved. Because fundamentally, there should be no conflict
Okay,
between
all right.
Houthis and
Fair enough.
Houthis.
Okay, all
They
right.
have
Thank
lived
you.
together and
Yeah.
they will live together in the future.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Wonderful.
Thank you all. I'm completely out of time. I thank all my panelists for joining me on the telecast and sharing your views. On that note, I slip into a short break. Thanks for watching NewsX.
Aber erst lief's mal.